Marvel Comics is also. Here's the Children of the Atom trailer here. This is I don't know. I don't know where the creative people went. I do not know where the creative people went in comics. I guess I don't know. I guess they aged out. Here's what we got.
There's so many things I could tease about Children of the Atom, but I will say one thing, and that's new characters.
X-Men is supposed to be.
These don't look like new characters to me. These look like they look like old characters that have been gender swapped to me.
Something that is, you know, important to the now. And so what is more now than Zoom?
This is Vita Ayala, who has created her career. She writes everything now. From what I understand, there is an agency that represents people like Vita Ayala and Max Visaggio and actively gets them jobs, you know, with Marvel, DC, other companies. Vita Ayala, I guess, brags about being queer, and Brown is a talentless writer, utterly shallow and talentless writer, who is now writing the X-Men. And it's fascinating to see what she says here. What is more now than Zoomers?
Zoomers.
All right, so these are the new X-Men. You've got Maddow as Cyclops here. You've got a lesbian Cyclops. Maybe she's bisexual. We'll just call her Biclops. Zach called this one Gambitch. I like that, Gambitch. And we got some fat guy here. I don't know what this is.
Adam has 5 new characters at the heart of it that Vita very meticulously wrote out entire backstories and histories and families and anything you want to know about these characters. Vita has thought about it already.
All right, so let's find out. You thought about it? I want to hear all about these characters and their meticulous backstories. What can we learn about these characters from Vita Ayala? She's already thought it through. You know, she already has all the conflict. All these characters are probably deeply, thoroughly written.
One of them has a TikTok. One of them
has a TikTok. Oh, this is all internet shit. One of them has a fitness Insta. Oh, more internet shit.
Has a fitness Insta. One of them is basically the moderator for the mutant subreddit.
Moderator for the mutant subreddit. X-Men by Vita Ayala. I live on the internet. Everything is internet with me. I live on the internet. I don't know what a superhero is. Superheroes, to me, do the same thing that I do every single day. I'm a superhero. I'm like a superhero. I moderate my own subreddit. I have a TikTok. I have a fitness Insta. I'm on Instagram. I'm very much like a superhero, and superheroes are very much like me.
One of them is
X-Men. One of them's a cosplayer. My boring reality. Sitting on the computer all day, calling everybody who votes for Trump Nazis is X-Men now. Everybody just remember when they were doing this thing, like every single comic book cover was like the superheroes taking a selfie. It's just so goddamn, I mean, oh my God. It's just like a headache right in my eye socket that I cannot get rid of. Good Lord. Snowflake, safe space.
Cosplayer, and the other one makes mutant music. For so long, it's like the larger media in the X-Men universe is like, mutants are bad, and like the X-Men are evil because they're mutants, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what would
No, it's it. The X-Men are not evil because they're mutants. They're an existential threat to the human race. It wasn't just that the X-Men are evil because they're mutants. It was humanity was afraid of being replaced. See, it's about supremacy. It's about the X-Men were about a master race. Think about it this way, Vita. They were Homo superior. So, the X-Men, that entire book was about fear, humanity being afraid of being replaced by mutants who were like humans, but were often more beautiful, strange, exotic, and had magic, special powers and gifts that humans didn't have. So it wasn't just, oh my goodness, we're terrified of the X-Men are bad. X-Men bad. I'm not sure if you've read an X-Men book before, but it really is different than you describe.
Zoomers think of that. They would be like, no, they're great.
They're great. Zoomers would think they're great. Human Zoomers would think mutants were great. They would think, no, they're great. We'd be on the side of being wiped off the face of the earth by, yeah, we're great. We're going to go extinct. That's great. The X-Men. Mutants are awesome.
How the X-Men react to these new characters who are their sidekicks is a major part of the story that is...
Look at these total frauds. Look at these total frauds mixed in with the real X-Men. Todd Knock, shame on you.
Going to have all sorts of ripples through their titles and ours.
But also, it's an X-Men comic. There's going to be powers and there's going to be punching.
There's going to be punching. There's going to be powers and there's going to be punching. What is it with social justice warriors and punching things? There's going to be punching. Look, punching. People punching things. These people do not understand comic books. They don't understand superheroes. They don't get it. None of these people get it. Faking it. They're just all of this is just a pretense.
And there's going to be bad guys and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, good. They're going to be bad guys and punching. You realize that you're making comic books for adults. Like the remaining audience of comics are in their 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And you're talking to them like this. There's going to be bad guys and punching and powers. You might not be, this might not be the job for you. The people who buy comics now, grew up with. The people who buy comics now started buying comics. Think about this. They started buying comics when Frank Miller was writing and drawing Daredevil. Dark Knight Returns. Alan Moore. This is when they became comic book fans. They were like, whoa, there was a whole thing that happened in the late 80s and early 90s. And it just kind of swept the media. Okay, this idea, this notion that comic books weren't for kids. And comics aren't for kids anymore. They're really for adults. And we don't call them comics. We call them graphic novels now and all this stuff. And then people tried them out, and people started actually investigating. The Batman movie came out. People started reading comic books. And they found that the comic book stories were sophisticated, and then the more they investigated, the more they got sucked in via Batman and Superman and, all the superhero stories that were well written. And people started discovering Vertigo comics and Alan Moore, but Neil Gaiman. And people started to discover, Garth Ennis and Warren Ellis. And all through the late 80s and the 90s, comics became more and more sophisticated. Sure, during the 90s, there was the cool pulp stuff that Rob Liefeld was doing, Todd McFarlane, the Image stuff. But that was candy. Most people were reading very sophisticated comics. And those people are now adults, okay? Those people are now old. We're older now. I'm middle-aged. I've been reading comics since I was 13 years old. And now I'm 45. And I've got this idiot now. There aren't too many newbies coming on board. I got this idiot who has taken over my beloved X-Men. And she's saying, they're going to be powers and bad guys and punching. And by the way, they're like on the internet all day long and they're cosplayers. Basically, I'm just inserting my world, my very limited, myopic, silly world into the X-Men. I have no understanding about what X-Men is actually about. I think it's something about civil rights. I think it's something about civil rights somewhere, but like, you know, really, people hate the X-Men for no reason, but like Zoomers love them. Zoomers are like, go X-Men. It's just, it's unbelievable how stupid, silly, and shallow these people are trying to write comics for an adult. They can't, they're just, I don't know who these comics are for. Who is this comic for? You have no respect for your audience. None. There, I mean, it's like, like when Grant Morrison was writing New X-Men, there were layers upon layers upon layers of meaning. It was a privilege to get to work with him on New X-Men. You know, he had a new take on, there are a million different ways that you can look at X-Men, but he had a really good take on it. And, you know, a lot of people have done different things with the X-Men and made it mean different things. This might be the first writer who's made it mean absolutely nothing. This is a one-layer cake. The layer is as thin as paper, and underneath it is nothing but lard. Just fluff, just shit. One's a cosplayer. One's an Instagrammer. One has a TikTok. Shit. And by the way, they're not even original characters. We just gender swapped Gambit and Cyclops. You can do anything. You know, if you are doing the X-Men, and I had a chance, like I said, like I just mentioned, those of you who don't know me very well, you know, I'm a comic book professional. I worked on the X-Men in 2002 to 2003. And during that time, for me, just like on Green Lantern, it's an opportunity to be incredibly creative. If you're working on Spider-Man, I think that must be a little bit more confining. X-Men, Green Lantern, these two books, these two franchises are opportunities to flex your muscles, to really let your imagination go, and create great stuff, create original stuff. When I was on the X-Men, I created Glob Herman, which they're still using. I created Glob Herman all by myself. Beak, little kind of bird guy, lonely, introverted bird guy I created with Grant Morrison. The Stepford Cuckoos. Angel. So many other creators, so many other little characters that I created along the way over in X-Men. I went, mutants. They can be anything. They can be absolutely anything. Why the hell would you go back and copy something that somebody already did? You're working on Green Lantern. You mean, okay, so it's aliens. There are 7,200 aliens from all over the universe. You can literally do anything that you want to do. You can have the most incredibly crazy idea and turn it into a Green Lantern. And these people, oh, it's absolutely infuriating.
Also, you know, it's an X-Men comic. There's going to be powers, and there's going to be punching, and there's going to be bad guys, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm very excited to have Vita Ayala and Bernard Chang as part of this title.
Bernard really brought the thunder on this. It's really incredibly dynamic.
Because he not only had to design these superhero
Bernard Chang's pretty good. He's all right.
Identities, but also these civilian identities and like people's moms and like their little brother. And he's making these characters real and whole in a way that a lot of artists probably couldn't.
Yeah. No, he isn't. And no artist could make these characters real and whole because they aren't real. There's nothing beyond. These are shallow, stupid, vapid ideas by a shallow, stupid, vapid writer who was hired because of her identity, because of the color of her skin, and because she says, I'm queer and brown. Emotionally manipulative SJW tactics to get unqualified people, manifestly unqualified. I don't even have to say, it's not even a matter of opinion. You're looking at this and you're going, wait a second, there's literally nothing here. I am not interested in this. There's nothing here. This person is not creating characters that I'm interested in. There is no talent here. Why? Why is she doing this? Because she was hired, because she's Vita Ayala. She's represented probably by the same guy who represents the same firm that represents Max Visaggio. Goes out and gets these guys work all over the place where they do shit. They just produce shit.
X-Men was some of my first comics ever, and to be able to play in that universe and also to add to that universe is really a dream come true.
So if you've never read an X-Men book before and you're only familiar with them in other mediums, this is a great place to start off.
It's a terrible place to start off. Please don't make this your first X-Men book. Please don't do it. You have people right now these people are masquerading as X-Men creators. This is not a good X-Men comic. Please don't read this. Don't make this your first book. There are many, many, many other places that you'd be better off starting off. If you're interested in politics in X-Men, go read the brilliant Chris Claremont God Loves, Man Kills graphic novel. That's a good place to start off. I would just start off reading reprints of Chris Claremont's run, starting all the way back with Giant Size X-Men #1, which Rich Johnson is laughing about here. He's, oh, look, this was a diverse retail. Yeah, Rich, I get it. Go read that stuff. That's good. That's actually good stuff. And by the way, quite right. These are diverse characters with meaning. They're well thought out. You learn about them as you go. When you read the Claremont X-Men stuff, you're going to be introduced to characters who actually do have substance behind them. And you're going to learn about them as you read more. You're going to learn more about their history, their personal conflicts, how they feel about each other, where they fall politically in the the overall scheme of things. With X-Men, with mutants being looked at with scorn, and yet mutants are superior to the human race. I mean, everybody has different ideas, different plans. They all relate to each other in different ways. There's a lot there. Do not start out reading this shit. Don't do it. Go read Grant Morrison's E for Extinction. I did chapter 4. I would say that. Go read New X-Men, E for Extinction. That's a good place to start. This is awful. Shameful.
Almost like the kids are our perspective. So anything that you don't know, you're discovering it through these
Look at this. It's just,
kids. I don't think we've seen this perspective in X.
By the way, every single new black female character has Minnie Mouse pom-pom fro. I don't know why that is, but DC had a character over on Teen Titans, I think, had Minnie Mouse pom-pom fro. I had to draw her. All of these new characters have this Minnie Mouse pom-pom fro. I've never seen that in real life. I've actually never seen Minnie Mouse pom-pom fro on a real human being.
X-Men comics before. I think people are going to super dig it.
I think people are going to super dig it, she says. I think people are going to super dig it. The end of the comic book industry.